Welcome back to BC Exotics. Today I'm going to be showing you how I set up my Mourning Gecko enclosure. And so as you can see in front of me, I have my glass terrarium, which is 20 by 20 by 20, an Exoterra one. I tend to use this. I'll probably get a bigger one soon, as I do have 3 and they seem to be growing a bit. I did get them when they were babies though, and so I didn't want something too big so they could get lost or possibly escape. So diving right in, I first use my substrate, which in this case is the Pro Rep Rainforest Substrate, which is kind of orchid bark mixed with cocoa fiber, a bit of sphagnum moss, and a few other things. It holds the humidity really well, but isn't like kind of cocoa soil where everything kind of gets buried and like can kind of flick around and things can get lost in there. It kind of holds its structure as well as holding the moisture, so that's kind of why I like it. Another thing, please like the video, subscribe, and comment down below if you have any suggestions for future videos, as it does mean a lot to me. So carrying on with the video, I do have 3 mourning geckos at the moment. As they there's no kind of gender on mourning geckos, you only need 2 to reproduce them, and so I have 3 in the hopes that I will eventually get some eggs, and I will be putting in some egg tubes soon, kind of once they reach adult. They're not very big geckos, they're kind of known for being quite small. The largest one I've seen, probably the length including the tail, was about probably 8 centimeters, I'd say. So yeah, they don't get big. They can be really like cool to look at as well, so they make a great kind of like pet gecko, I guess, to have as a display animal, but you can't really hold them just because they are so small and they tend to be quite skittish. At the moment I'm just kind of clearing the kind of, not dust, but small kind of particles from the substrate that got on the side. I do like the Exoterra terrariums. I find they're very good at kind of lasting a long time, as I did used to use a different brand of terrarium, but they kind of just went off a bit. So this is a ornament. It is artificial rock. It's kind of like a weird kind of really firm hard plastic. They can go inside of it as it's hollow, and so they do go inside there quite a bit. It's got a small hole at the top, but there's lots of ridges inside of it that they can kind of sit on and things like that. Yeah, so it makes a very good hide for them, and it's also tall. Mourning geckos are kind of semi-arboreal, so they will climb if you give them the opportunity to. I'd say they're most similar to a crested gecko, but they're kind of just like a really mini crested gecko, and they do really well in like a communal setup. And so if you want a colony of geckos, I guess this is probably the best, because they don't get too big. So next I have some artificial leaves. These came from a bigger plant that I used in one of my other enclosures. I just cut off one of the segments and put that in there. It's quite good because I can spray water on it. Obviously, when they are such small geckos, you don't want a huge water dish, as they could possibly drown. I do put a small one in, which we'll see later, but I spray them every day, and the water going on is kind of droplets, and I've never seen them drink out the water dish, but I think they do drink the droplets, because I've seen them kind of licking the artificial leaves before. And also it looks quite nice next to the kind of ornament. And then yeah, I give it all a spray just to kind of get some humidity in there, as when I do put the substrate in originally, it can be quite dry, but once you've kind of moistened it up, it does hold the humidity as mentioned. So this is the water dish. I ordered, they're kind of these I think 5mm pots I got off eBay. I got about 200 for £5, and I use them for absolutely everything. So I normally just cut off the lid if I'm making a water dish. I think they're called deli cups, the mini deli cups, and then I can put that in the bottom and fill up with water. Because they're plastic, they don't look like very aesthetically pleasing, but they're really easy to clean, unlike some of the kind of fancy Exoterra ones, or Pro Rep do quite a few as well, which tend to kind of just get a bit dirty and soil gets in the cracks and stuff. With these, if anything happens to them, I can just throw them away and get another one, because they are so cheap. I don't fill the water dish up to the top, as I mentioned. I don't want them to drown. So mourning geckos are very kind of simple. This is basically their enclosure completed. As you can see in the corner there, I did tape up some of the holes where cables could go down, just because they can go underneath the background and up and escape. I saw one on the back, and so that's why I taped it, just so they can't get out, because if there's a way to escape, they will find it. This is probably one of the cheapest gecko setups, so I would definitely recommend it for beginners or anyone looking for kind of a cheap kind of pet that's more visual rather than handling. They're also really easy to care for. So as you can now see, I have the mourning geckos in front of me. When I was moving them out to give the cage a deep clean, one of them got out, so I had to put one in a separate box, and then there's two in the others. As you can see, they've got really nice markings and kind of this yellowy gold belly. These are kind of sub-adult juveniles at the moment. They are quite skittish, and so I'm quite cautious when putting them in. I tend to just kind of, as you can see, put the plastic box in and then kind of hope they jump out. One's gone around the back, as you can see, and then the other one's climbing up. These are just fruit fly tubs. You have to be careful with them, obviously, because they are geckos. They can drop their tails if frightened, or if anything kind of pulls on them or something. So I just kind of gently nudge them. You can see those two are both in. And that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, please subscribe, as it really helps me out, and leave a comment for any video suggestions you have or anything you want to see, as I do a lot of tarantula and invertebrate videos as well as reptile videos. As you can see, one's kind of floating on top of the water dish. I'm not sure what that's doing. If you want to see any more setups or an information guide on mourning geckos, just put that in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.